Fuck yes! Top Gun Maverick is everything I'd hoped it would be and much more. It's a fucking great movie that more than justified the insanely long delays, kept me engaged and entertained from start to finish, paid tribute to the past without wallowing in it, delivered action sequences that gleefully shit in the face of all the bland, sterile CGI garbage we've been fed for years, and proved once again that Tom Cruise may just be the last great movie star we'll ever know. Honestly, a few years ago, if you told me they'd be making a modern day sequel to Top Gun, one of the most 80s of 80s movies, with an almost 60-year-old Maverick playing mentor to a new generation of fighter pilots, I would have laughed in your face and told you there was no fucking way it could work. And if you'd then told me that not only would it be an awesome sequel that retains the spirit of the original, but actually improves on it in some ways, then I'd ask what brand of paint stripper you've been drinking, because I fucking want some. And yet, there it is. After years of delays, speculation and hype, Top Gun Maverick is finally upon us. And having watched it last night, I can say confidently that it was absolutely fantastic. I'm so fucking happy this movie got made, I feel like I've been buzzing since I got out of the theatre. Anyway, you're not here to listen to me prattle on about my fucking emotional state. It's time to review this thing, so grab your aviators and tannin oil and let's get started. The movie picks up more than 30 years after the events of the first Top Gun. Maverick is now a test pilot working for some secret government research project when he gets unexpectedly recalled to the Navy Fighter Weapons School, better known by its nickname, Top Gun.
God help us.
Anyway, the Navy's planning a strike mission to destroy a nuclear research facility in, not Russia, before it can go online and start producing weapons of mass destruction. And because it's so heavily defended, the only way in is through a narrow canyon, over a mountain, and then up the other side before the enemy can lock on and blow you out of the sky. It's a bit like the canyon run from A New Hope, only this time you don't have the Millennium Falcon to help you out at the last minute. Basically, it's a virtual suicide mission that only the best pilots in the world can even attempt, and as one of the only active pilots left with actual air-to-air combat experience, it's up to Maverick to train and prepare them for the mission ahead. There's just one problem. One of the candidates happens to be the son of Goose, Maverick's former best friend before, you know. What's are the odds, eh? So the bulk of the movie is devoted to training up for the big mission and the rivalry and unresolved issues between Maverick and Rooster. The harder Maverick trains Rooster and the other candidates, pushing men and machines to breaking point, the more the tension rises amongst the group, and the more Maverick himself is forced to confront his guilt over what happened to his best friend and find a way to be the leader he needs them to be. And this being a Top Gun movie, naturally it all culminates in an epic airborne action sequence where the team launches their do-or-die mission into not Russia, encountering a bunch of dangers along the way, and have to finally become a team and work together to pull through. But will they all make it back alive, or will history repeat itself? It's not exactly a complex story, because just like the original, it doesn't really need to be. Top Gun was never some labyrinthine tale with shocking twists and revelations. It was about putting a bunch of young hotheads together into a highly competitive environment and just watching what happens. It was all about the rivalries, the egos and personalities of its characters, and the sequel is really no different. Thank fuck. One of my big fears going into this movie is that it would fall victim to the fucking mind virus that is postmodernism, deciding to mock and belittle the macho, gung-ho mindset of the first film in a desperate attempt to elevate its own story. But nope, it absolutely never does. Top Gun Maverick is a different beast. In the hands of a different filmmaker, Maverick probably would have been portrayed as some sad, decrepit old man desperately trying to relive his glory days before being put firmly in his place by some obnoxious box-ticking fantasy figure and finally coming to the conclusion that he was never really that good in the first place. Well, fuck that! Those kinds of tactics are for fucking losers, or people who like their steaks well done. Whether it's down to Tom Cruise's ego or writers who actually understand what their audience wants, the end result is the same. This Maverick is very much still the man we remember. Yeah, he's older now and he's got a bit more baggage to carry, but he's still cocky and competitive, passionate about what he does, and willing to push himself and those around him to the very limits of their abilities. This isn't a guy who's gonna meekly step aside and make way for the next generation. He's a man doing what he loves to the best of his ability, and Cruise doesn't miss a beat in his performance. I don't know what kind of deal he made with the devil, but being able to convincingly play the same character 35 years apart is a skill that not many actors have. Speaking of good actors, Miles Teller is perfect as Rooster, a talented young pilot with a chip on his shoulder and a lot to prove. You know, the more I see of this guy, the more I find myself really liking him as an actor. I mean, yeah, he starred in a few clunkers back in the day, but he's also proven himself to be a strong and committed character actor, and if this movie does as well as it deserves to, it could well be the springboard that he needs to get much bigger roles. Jennifer Connelly seems to be going through a bit of a career renaissance these days, and frankly, I'm all in favour of it. It was actually kind of a shock to have a female lead in a modern big budget movie who isn't an insufferable arsehole, but there it is. She plays Penny with warmth and humanity, and holy shit, talk about an upgrade. I mean, no offense to Kelly McGillis or anything, but damn, I know which one I'd pick. Truly, Jen, the years have been kind to you. Unfortunately, they haven't been quite so kind to Val Kilmer. I mean, credit to the filmmakers for giving the guy some much deserved screen time, and for working around his disability with tact and sensitivity, but damn, it's such a shame he's not capable of doing more. Iceman was one of the coolest antagonists in movie history, and it would have been great to see him in a more expanded role here. But hey, it is what it is, I guess, and his scene with Maverick is well played by both actors. Oh, and I've got to talk about the cinematography here. The original Top Gun was made in an era before CGI made it possible to do basically anything with zero risk or difficulty, and I half expected this film to follow suit, but nope. It's done pretty much entirely with practical effects. Apparently they did most of the flight scenes by putting the actors into real aircraft, and goddamn, it shows. There's a weight and realism behind the air combat scenes that no amount of sterile green screen could ever hope to replicate. I mean, yeah, clearly they had a bit of help for some of the more intense stunts that just wouldn't be possible to do in reality, but for the most part, it looks and feels like this stuff was actually happening. You see the difference it makes when you know that the actors and film crew actually did this stuff? You see how much more immersive and exhilarating it is? You see how fucking boring and unengaging it is when you know the actors were just standing on an empty soundstage surrounded by green screens? God, I've missed movies like this. Now, if I had to be super picky, I'd acknowledge that some of the dialogue can be a bit clunky and simplistic at times, falling into the trap of telling rather than showing. I guess it was done for the sake of speed and efficiency, but it probably would have benefited from a bit more polish. Also, the relationship between Maverick and Penny felt a little superfluous at times. I mean, don't get me wrong, Cruise and Connolly are both great actors that have good chemistry together, but overall it probably could have been better integrated into the main story and maybe given a bit more complexity to flesh it out. But honestly, that's pretty much it as far as complaints go. Yeah, I could probably pick holes in the plausibility of the finale, or the idea that the US Navy would send their best pilots and their multi-million-dollar planes on what basically amounts to a suicide mission, but fuck it, this movie's more than earned a little goodwill from me. Top Gun Maverick is a glorious throwback to the big, bombastic, crowd-pleasing action movies of a bygone era. It's unashamedly nostalgic, reflective, patriotic, gung-ho, and fucking awesome, and it's a reminder that movies in the hands of the right people can still be thrilling, exhilarating, and leave you feeling better than when you went in. In an age of tired superhero movies, failing franchises, and of course, the message, it's exactly what audiences have been crying out for years. The age of films like this and its star might be coming to an end now, but as Maverick himself would say,
maybe so, sir. But not today.
Now, just before I wrap this one up, I'd like to say that today's video has been sponsored by me. Some of you probably know that when I'm not reviewing movies and drinking until I black out, I somehow find the time to write action thrillers all of my own. And as it happens, I've got a new one coming out in August. Dark Harvest is a fast-paced, globe-trotting action adventure that uses a real-life unresolved mystery as its backdrop, and I'm excited to share it with the world at last. I'm pretty confident that people will enjoy it, and well, if you ever felt like supporting this channel but you didn't want to bother with Patreon or any of that other stuff, then perhaps you might consider picking up a copy. It's available to pre-order on Amazon already, along with all my back catalogue of other books, and I'll leave the link in the description if you'd like to take a look. And hey, if you order your copy today, I will personally hand deliver it to your home, then take you out on a blinding night out with the drinker. The critical drinker will not honour this pledge. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.